My name is Wojtek. I am the CTO here at Viirtue, and I'm just going to do a quick introduction here, and then I'm going to hand it over to Eric, our product owner. And we just wanted to give you a quick update. We're going to be doing this on a quarterly basis, typically towards the end of the quarter. And I just wanted to give you an update on our hiring initiative. We have successfully gotten offers that were accepted for 2 developers that are starting April 10th. So we are scaling the dev team and will continue to do so. And as we do so, we will give you updates accordingly. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Eric, our product owner. Eric, it is your show, sir.
Cool, thank you, Wojtek. And yeah, again, thanks everybody for joining today. As Wojtek mentioned, we're going to be aiming to do this on a quarterly basis. So technically this is going to be our first one, going through the product roadmap, kind of what's coming next, and how you can also help shape it. So for the agenda, we're going through the kind of a quick review of the latest releases since last time we met, or kind of spoke about the product roadmap, upcoming features, and the feature requests and feature request tool that we have available in ViiBE. And then at the end, we'll have an opportunity for Q&A. So you can send any questions in, and we'll address them at the end. So the last time we kind of talked about the roadmap was actually Viirtue Connect, right around the time of the end customer portal launch. I think we were all pretty excited about that, and still are, right? Introducing customers, giving them the ability to view their invoices, make payments, and also in ViiBE, giving you guys the ability to manage those payments and so on and so forth. We have a lot more to come there, but past that, that big update and our latest release of 1.26.2. From there, we spent some time cleaning up bugs, really focused on some of the integrations, especially Stripe, being that we're using that in a different capacity now with ECP. Also some QuickBooks related things, and some other things that we may have seen in there related to account balance and invoices and things like that, all kind of related back to the launch of ECP and making sure that that stuff was working properly. We did uncover a few blocks as over these last couple months here. We'll see kind of what those impact in a later slide. But one of the main ones is our product catalog as it exists today, and as a lot of you use that product catalog, we do want to introduce this concept of SKUs and kind of enhancing the product catalog and managing products across the board, from prices and taxes, bundles, and all that stuff. So we have, like I said in a later slide, we kind of have that broken out, but that is kind of the main blocker that we discovered that impacts some of the heavily requested features. Moving forward from there, in that time, we've been working on some other things as well. On this slide, we have kind of our upcoming feature set that we have planned and some things that we already have started. You're going to see kind of the estimated level of effort here based on the size of these bubbles that you see, as well as the progress, as I mentioned, for kind of the 2 big ones that are front and center with AutoPay and the usage report. AutoPay, that was kind of a continuation of the release of the end customer portal. It's shaping up really well. Again, giving customers the ability to manage that as well as you guys, the resellers, in ViiBE. So that's going to be extremely helpful. We're going to have some configurations that are going to be able to set for that as well. So a lot more to come there. Next is going to be the usage report, which is the #1 requested feature. So it's another one that we're working through. We're really excited to get that one out. Working through different usage sources to kind of pull those all together into the report. But making some really good progress there. And like I said, #1 requested feature. So we're really looking forward to get that one out as well. Following that, another report, account balance report, again, kind of coming back to ECP and payments. We've introduced the account balance card within ViiBE, being able to kind of see that at a glance for each individual account, but now kind of tying that all together within a report of some type that you're able to easily see that information across all accounts, along with other information as well. Very high on our priority. Moving past there, we have billing notification emails, again, kind of circling back to ECP and payments, focused on, different billing invoice statuses, enhancements to the existing billing invoice email, right? Including that, maybe that the customer is already enabled in auto pay, or including a link to ECP so they could go pay their bill. So enhancements like that are really what we're going to be focusing on there, along with the payment outcomes. So success, failures, auto pay statuses, things like that. Next, another top requested feature for number ordering and being able to filter by rate center. So that one, actually, I should have actually added a little progress there as well. We have been working on that one. We have some wires that our creative director, Genev, was able to put together based on some preliminary conversations that we've been having on this. So this one is definitely one that we're looking forward to get out. As I said, again, another top requested feature. So you're going to see that theme in these upcoming features. While we do have other initiatives and other internal things that we are working on, account time zones on here as well. That's one of those. We are really focusing on that feature request tool and, the features that have been deemed as the highest and most critical. As you'll see, is past account due disconnection for disabling those integrations. And as I mentioned, account time zones, which again could be looked at as more of an internal or backend enhancement, but is also going to provide value, right? Our goal here is kind of to allow you guys to define your own time zone and potentially an individual's account time zone. This could impact things like due dates or reporting. And we know we've seen some, discrepancies here at some point. So it's definitely something that, we really want to shore up. But again, these are the features that, we have evaluated, again, based on the priority in the feature request tool, and ones that we know that, provide a lot of value. So these are the ones that we are planning to focus on next. And with that, we're going to go to the feature request now, the feature request tool. And this is where we're going to see some of the, again, outside of the ones that we already have planned on and have started working on. These are some of the next ones that are in that feature request tool that are also very, highly requested, and also very valuable features that, we know that are going to be kind of next up. But you're going to see here, as I mentioned earlier, the three in red. We see syncing billable Net Sapiens features, bundled products and services, and the QuickBooks products and taxes sync. Those are going to be blocked by what I mentioned earlier, which are really overall enhancements, kind of an overhaul to our product catalog and introducing SKUs. That's going to, unlock us and be able to do a lot of, cool things moving forward from there. I know QuickBooks was definitely a very highly requested one, and it all kind of ties back to that. But you will also see that the QuickBooks payments and credit sync is one that we are able to do, and we are not blocked. That does not tie to the product catalog. That is something that prior to ECP was not really something that made sense, but now that we have ECP and payments via Stripe, this is one that we definitely want to make sure we focus on as well. So moving forward from there, we're going to see some of the larger, we're using the same kind of structure here to show kind of the level of effort here. So it's all going to be taken into consideration, as well as things that you may not see on this, this feature request. Again, this is just pulled from the feature request tool that we have, but there are going to be some other things that we're going to be working on. And again, that account time zone, something that, you know, is one of the things that we've identified, but also is going to, you know, be providing value as well once it's out the door. So kind of a balancing act between, you know, features that are requested and ones that we know are critical. You know, we're hoping that, you know, you guys are able to kind of see and understand that as we move forward, you know, down these different paths with these different features that we're working on. So with that, I think we're going to go to the feature request tool. Really, again, as I've mentioned, right, the theme of this is kind of making sure that, you know, we have this tool here that, you know, we allow you guys to communicate, you know, the most important features, and we want to make sure that this is being utilized, you know, correctly and in a meaningful way. And moving forward, as I've said, we're going to, you know, continue to use this as, you know, kind of the primary source for prioritizing features moving forward. So just wanted to make sure I called out the reminder again, where this is located in ViiBE, the feature requests option down here. And always remember to, you know, when you go in there, make sure you go search for a feature that you may want to request that could already exist. And that's where we want to get those votes going to get that to the top if it's a highly requested feature. And adding comments to that feature as well to maybe shed some light on, you know, your perspective, anything else you might want to see, things that you might think could enhance that feature. This is definitely the place to do it. I've also added a new article into the reseller guide section, where you're able to, you know, you could scan this QR code to get the URL if you needed, but this will be in the reseller guide section. You would have to be logged in the Viirtue Learning Center here. But when you do go to submit a feature request, I would recommend checking this out. This would help us greatly to have some, you know, some really great feature requests in there. It helps us prioritize. It helps us understand, you know, what is being asked for and, you know, context around that. So definitely recommend going in there to check that out when you do have the opportunity. And yeah, I think that is everything. So thank you guys again for listening, and I think we'll open it up for questions if any have come in, Dan. Or Wojtek, if you have those.
Yeah, I don't see any questions specifically now, and that's fine because I mean this was definitely kind of more like here's our status, here's where we're going. But one of the things that I definitely just wanted to reinforce that Eric already mentioned is, again, you guys are definitely part of our growth story, and we want to be part of yours. So let's make sure that, again, you know, you have a stake in that by using the feature request tool to help us shape, you know, essentially where we're headed next. So all of this stuff that you guys are seeing now was heavily influenced by the features that were there. And again, our goal is to make sure that we do this on a quarterly basis to keep you guys informed on, here are the things that we've done, here are the things that we've delivered. So this is our first time doing this. We just wanted to make sure that we started. I do see some questions coming in about Xero accounting software. So I'm not quite sure what that essentially means, or if it's an integration of some sort that was asked.
I'll jump in here randomly. Hey guys, it's Dan. Yeah, that's I think looking for an accounting integration. Xero is an accounting platform. So Lauren, you'd probably want to open a new feature request that doesn't already exist in the feature request portal, like Eric had just shown, but I don't think I've seen one in there. I know we've got some stuff in there for QuickBooks, but I haven't seen any requests for Xero.
Yep. I see a question here, which I'd like to answer, is like, what about a timeline? So notice that we didn't put any dates around that specifically, and that's by design, because one of the last things that we want to do is to have a repeat of where we set a hard date on something and then we don't meet those deliverables. And the way that we designed the product roadmap was specifically this way, where we can kind of peel back the onion on a quarterly basis. So I don't want to say that, hey, all of these things are going to be delivered in Q2, because again, like look at what we're doing. Q2 is we're onboarding new developers, so that's going to be take some time to do. But essentially, this is the roadmap of like what we're committing to get moving on, to get started, and possibly deliver within the quarter. But again, I by no stretch of the imagination want to say that, hey, Q2, all of this stuff is going to be delivered. That's what we're striving for. And for the most part, that stuff is going to be pretty linear. But also, again, these are things that are relevant and surfaced in terms of the product, the product and feature request tool, because there are going to be things that we sneak in there that are critical, like from a support perspective or a feature enhancement. So we're trying to show the big ticket items that you guys have asked for, and then again, like we will also kind of reference these things next time in that initial slide that you guys had to kind of just elaborate on what were the other things that we kind of covered. And as always, we highly encourage you guys to check out the release notes because everything gets published there. So again, we're purposely not committing to any kind of timelines, but just know that we are committed to the actual like features, and as these things become available, we will be broadcasting them through email, through the Viirtue Community Center, the Slack channel there, and that's how you guys will know that those features are dropping. And it's also a means of holding us accountable to the things that we are committing to, right? Because if we come back here next quarter and none of these bubbles are like filled up all the way, or they haven't dropped off and we're focusing on new things, then that's a problem. So again, this is just another way for us to create some accountability around the types of things that that we have going on. All right. I see a good question here, which is the usage report that you've referred to specify the breakdown by customer. So yes, this is going to be an interesting one where right now, when you guys receive your invoices, it provides a breakdown that's essentially aggregated at the reseller level. Well, this, where it makes sense to, will be broken down all the way to the domain and potentially even the user. So we're going to basically like re-engineer our entire billing process around this so that it's all coming from the same data source. So to answer your question, Chad, yes, it's going to be broken down by domain, and then again, where it makes sense, also like the user. So for example, we'll be able to tell you how many E911 DIDs you're being billed for and what those E911 DIDs are, for instance. For voicemail transcription users, we'll show you which ones are being billed for voicemail transcription. So there's, we're not just going to show the numbers in aggregate broken down by domain. Again, where it makes sense to, we're going to go ahead and show you those values as well. So it'll go aggregated at the reseller level, then you'll see things broken down by domain, and then you'll see things broken down by user where it makes sense. Because yeah, just we know you guys are asking for this, and so we're trying to over deliver on this one as well, so that way there's no question about what you're being billed for and why. Okay, let's see. Future features without a timeline or okay. Can you explain blocked feature requests and why? Okay, Eric, here's a good one for you. Can you explain the blocked feature requests and why they are blocked?
Yeah, of course. So in going through this exercise, right, of identifying the features that we can work on, going against the feature request tool based on that priority, some of the higher ones were things such as, let's say bundling products or the full QuickBooks sync, right, where you're able to sync essentially individual products from ViiBE to QuickBooks. In going through the investigation of, kind of what would it take to do this, what's the level of effort, when can we plan this for, we identified that we needed we needed internal things in ViiBE to be enhanced or changed to be able to send them over to QuickBooks in the way that's expected. So one of the things that we need to do is kind of enhance the overall product catalog and introduce the concept of a SKU, right? Like a identifier for each individual product. And in identifying that, we also noticed that it impacts other features that were requested in the tool as well, being the bundled products, or let's say syncing up the NetSapiens billable features in ViiBE. So again, something we need to fully vet out, but kind of the concept of like, if I add an auto attendant in ViiBE or NetSapiens, you know, sync the two together, right? That's all based on having that individual product identifier of a SKU. And that's why those couple features are blocked, is because we would need to introduce those SKUs to the product catalog first.
Great. Thanks for that, Eric. One quick question is, will we see maybe some of these features this quarter? Yeah, that is definitely, namely user permission. So probably not user permission. So what you guys saw on that roadmap is kind of like what we're scoping to work on like next. And so again, our throughput will change as we essentially, you know, invest in more development resources as they get ramped up. But the two things that I can definitely commit to that you're going to see relatively soon within Q2 are going to be the auto pay functionality and that usage report. And then shortly thereafter, the account balance report. Those first three items are definitely coming fast and furious. Because again, they're highly anticipated. We know that you guys want them, and we're going to get those to you guys as soon as humanly possible. All right, let's see. Any other questions here that we should be able to answer? Okay, and so I see a lot of questions here as are pertaining to like reporting. That is going to be a central theme just in general within our roadmap. So again, we highly recommend, if there is a specific report that you would like to see, you know, the feature request tool is the place to kind of like define that. So this way, if we can start seeing the trend develop, is like, hey, we want this type of report, then we can definitely give it some serious credence in our sprint planning, and you know, provide it as a potential update. Some of those reports we may be even able to squeeze in before we have our next you know, quarterly get together. So again, highly encourage that you guys look into that. Let's see, I got another question here, which is about we are currently not set up completely for the customer portal. Be able to mark all batch older invoices paid. Okay. So there's a great question here where you know, somebody is not set up with the end customer portal, and you know, it's like, how do you treat like invoice balances that were there? So we have kind of addressed this with feedback from the past. Is like, we have a couple of options that we can do. You know, so if for instance you weren't, you know, things were already paid, talk to us, reach out to us, you know, via like support or Eric, and we can work with you to figure out how we can reconcile that stuff. So it could be something as like, hey, maybe we wipe out the invoices, or maybe we just like, you tell us all of these invoices are paid up and they're good to go. But remember, you can retroactively go in there and update things yourselves as well. So there's a couple of different options. It depends on how big and complex the thing is. We'll try to work with you guys in order to get that done. If you haven't already, you know, started using the end customer portal, we've got a bunch of resellers using it with great success. So we highly recommend you reach out to Eric in order to get set up with that. And trying to see if there's any other questions that we can field here. All right, that I think is going to do it in terms of like the questions. They've stopped trickling in, and I think we've addressed the majority of them. All right, well, if nobody's got anything else, I'll, you know, turn it over to Eric for some closing thoughts, and that'll be that. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys again for joining. Again, as Wojtek said, if anybody that's not on ECP that is interested, definitely reach out to me. Shouldn't be any issues there. If you you know, had any questions about getting to the feature request tool, the article that I mentioned, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. But with that, again, thank you guys, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, everyone.